Hey, kia ora, good morning. Helen Brahms here coming to you live from Escondido in California. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling start to Winning Wednesday. Yes, it is that day of the week where we get to celebrate our wins, even though we should be celebrating our wins as they occur on a daily basis. But what we'd like to know is what are your wins for today, for this week? Just let us know in the comments below and so we can celebrate with you because we love celebrations. Speaking of celebrations, congratulations to Emirates Team New Zealand for successfully defending the America's Cup last night. It was St. Patrick's Day down in New Zealand at the time, and now it's St. Patrick's Day. And yes, I do have a green shirt on today. It's just a little on the chilly side, so I have to have the sweatshirt. And I don't have a green sweatshirt. Gonna have to fix that one for next St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you Irish out there. I do have Irish ancestry, so I get to celebrate with you as well. But I know the Irish being the Irish, we welcome anybody who wants to be Irish for a day. I'm even writing in my journal in green ink too. Although I did start in purple, then I wrote St. Patrick's, and I thought, I think I better switch to green ink. But today's all about celebrating your wins. What wins have you had this week? What wins have you had? Yesterday we had an incredible trip from Yuma into San Diego. We did get some windy patches, but that was okay. Overall, it was a gorgeous, gorgeous day. Traffic route flowed smoothly, even on the freeway when we got here. Although I'm not quite sure why my GPS took me the back route that it did, and I was like driving along this back route, and I'm like thinking, wouldn't it have been quicker to go along the 8 to the 15 instead of taking all these back roads? And I mean, they were back roads, and there were some steep hills to go down on those back roads, and I was like, had all these people behind me, so I was finding places to pull over to let all the traffic that was backing up behind me to get past because I wasn't running down the hill. There was a drop down the other side there. Yeah, I wasn't going to even attempt to to go over that or put myself in a position to do that. So very grateful for a very successful journey in. I was listening to Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen this morning, listening to more of their book, The Aladdin Factor. Awesome book. Still haven't finished reading it because I'm having so much fun listening to the two of them have a conversation as they talk about the book. Um, very different book. A very different audio, although they follow the same outline that's in the book. And some of the stuff that they talk about on the thing is in the book, but they're just sitting there, the two guys just having a great conversation, and they're playing off each other extremely well. But one of the things that they talked about was perception. And your perception can change from you having a negative, when you look at a situation from one perspective, you could see it as a losing situation. But if you turn and come from a different angle, you've now got a different perspective and you may turn it into a winning moment. But one thing they said, which kind of intrigued me, and this is all about perception, there is as much life in an ant as there is in an elephant. And I was like, you know, yeah, it's all about perspective. You got two things on opposite ends of the spectrum size wise, yet they both have the same amount of life in them. They both get 24 hours a day, and again, as part of this winning mindset, all of us get 24 hours a day. It doesn't matter if we are homeless or if we are billionaires or something. We all get the same 24 hours a day. We all get the same 24 hours every day. Rich people do not get 25 hours in the day, they get 24 hours as well. So you've got to think of that in perspective. How are you spending your 24 hours? What are you doing during that time? And it was kind of interesting. And they were talking about mastermind groups. And you all know I love mastermind groups. But they're talking about, get in a mastermind group is two or more people coming together in an effort to mastermind. And they talk about about a mastermind and how they were part of a mastermind called Inside Edge for a number of years, and they would meet between 6:30 and 8:30 in the mornings, and by 9 o'clock they were working. But they turned around and said, we were there, we would be sitting at the table, and this was a large group of people, and they would come together, and they'd be split up into smaller groups, and in those small groups, it was sort of like, okay, we've got this time together. Each person gets this amount of time. You could ask anything you wanted during that time, anything. And they had questions ranging from business through to personal lives, all offering suggestions and ideas. And they said the cool part is that you had people from all different walks of life. You had people from different walks of life, different professions were represented, different professions and trades were represented. So you got a very rounded response, because you have people who had different life experiences, had different trades or professions or whatever, and they all had different perspectives based on where they were coming from and the businesses that they were in. And they said that's what makes a really good mastermind group, is because you have that variety. You now have resources, and you ask your question. You know, I want to be introduced to this person here. Somebody turns around and says, well, I don't know that person, but somebody else says, well, I actually know that person, or I know somebody who knows that person. So they said you could ask for anything you want. It was all about asking questions and all about uplifting each other. It was a positive thing. And if you had, and you turn around and then say, okay, these are my goals for the coming week. Actually, I think I'm getting there. This is Jack Canfield's mastermind group, where they would sit down there and they would turn around and say, okay, here are my goals for the coming week. This is what I'm going to accomplish over the week. And they said when we got to the following week and we had to report back on our accomplishments, if we did not do anything, if we did not achieve our goals, we just had to say thank you and pass it on to the next person. You were not allowed to talk about excuses as to why you didn't do it. So they had the asking the questions thing, and then they went around talking about their wins for the week. And if you didn't have one that week, you had to zip it. You just had to say thank you and pass it on to the next person. And nobody was allowed to ask you, why didn't you achieve your goals? Why didn't you do that? Because during your question session, you could then turn around and say, hey, I have this, I'm looking for this, or I need help with this. You could ask anything you wanted during your question session. Then they would get to setting goals for the coming week again, and that would go round and round and round and round. So you only got to celebrate the wins. You didn't get to celebrate why you didn't do anything. If you didn't do anything, if you didn't achieve your goals, you weren't allowed to say anything. They wanted to keep it positive at the table. I thought that was a really cool way of doing that. So, and I had 2 different mastermind groups in there that they were talking about backwards and forwards, and so I had to try and keep track. So the ones with the wins and setting the goals and not saying anything if you didn't achieve the goals, that was Jack Canfield's mastermind group. The Inside Edge, they had that 2 hours where you could basically sit there in your allotted time and you could talk about or ask about whatever you wanted to ask. And I thought that was a really cool thing. There's power in questions. There really is power in questions. It's interesting when you open up your mind to receive different pieces of knowledge and learn from other people's wisdom, that what you can accomplish. So it's just all about asking questions, asking the right questions. And when you start asking the right questions, you start winning, because asking questions will put you into a winning frame of mind, because you're asking questions for a specific thing. And when you get that specific thing, that is a great win, and we get to celebrate those. But anyway, I got to get out of here. I got to go get on another call right now. So have a super fantastic Sparkling Winning Wednesday. Go out there, ask the right questions, celebrate your wins. Let us know what your wins are in the comments below so we can celebrate with you. And we will catch you all back here later this afternoon. Ka konera.